Ladies and gentlemen, Gareth Southgate.
Steve gave me one bit of advice, which was, watch that bloody step as you come out in the foul. Just before I start, we have got one small presentation on behalf of the FA. It made a guest appearance in the film, actually. One of the regulars on the England beat, and it's good to see him here tonight looking in good health, and he's retiring from his work as a journalist. He would have undoubtedly divided opinion in a lot of people in the room because several of us have been in his column over the years. But Charlie Sale has definitely been a huge part of the England travelling press pack for many, many years. My most memorable moment with him was playing beach cricket in Rimini, where he insisted on calling me by my surname for the whole of the match. Once a public schoolboy, always a public schoolboy, I would say. So we thought most appropriate, if I can lift it up, to present him with the infamous dartboard, which was part of his column for years. So Charlie, I don't know if you want to come up.
Blimey, I've been completely ambushed tonight, so I don't know what to say. But for the darts, I must take a lot of credit in my own mind for the darts. And what happened at the World Cup was that the players had a 3-dart challenge with the press at the start of every press conference, which did a lot to help relationships. And the darts have become synonymous with the much improved relationships under Gareth's regime. And so much so, I think Jonathan Norcoff named his book Darts and Delhi. And it was quite interesting when the actual matches took place. In fact, they got so popular they appeared on News at 10, a load of cameras. The players were far more used to the pressure than the press. And even the great John Cross, he actually failed to hit that dartboard at all with his 3 darts. So maybe I'll have another go later on tonight. This whole darts thing had its started in Euro 2016 before the tournament, when I did a story about the fact that Joe Hart had organised an internal darts competition, and was taking his own darts into the tournament, which is a sort of trivial story, but apparently, according to the guy who leaked me the story, or girl who leaked me the story. From the FA, Joe Hart went berserk about this, and obviously helped with Gary Neville's mantra from that competition to give the press nothing. There was a news blackout over the darts, which, those of the press know that trivia like that sort of feeds a 24/7 media beast at these type of tournaments. Anyway, every press conference, I just asked about the darts, any news of the darts, and there's absolutely nothing. And Joe Hart didn't particularly like it after that, the Iceland debacle, when I asked him on the way out. Not that he stopped to give me an answer. But it did sum up how much better now relationships with the media are with under Gareth's far more enlightened regime to the past England managers. I'll just say, Gareth mentioned briefly the famous beach cricket game in Rimini. When I captained, it was the public schools 11, it was a divisive thing, against the rest of the Oiks. And Gareth was a late addition. He came on the beach quite late and was immediately drafted into the public schools 11. I don't know how pleased he was about that. But he was the only person barely resembling an athlete. Well, he resembles an athlete, look at him now, but the rest of us didn't. So as captain, I sensibly or astutely positioned where the ball was most likely to go. And I did say, Southgate, go over there. Southgate, move over here. Southgate, go there. And he sort of jogged past me on one occasion and said, actually, my name's Gareth. To which I replied, not when you're playing for the public schools 11. But Gareth obviously remembered this because one of his early England press conferences, one of the questions at the media conference was, what do the players call you, Gaff or whatever? And Gareth replied, they don't call me Southgate like one of you did once. But anyway, happy days, and I have absolutely no right to be up here on Gareth's big evening, but thanks very much for that, I really appreciate it.
It's nice to know that I resembled an athlete. Anyway, a couple of my managers said similar. A couple of them said I resembled a centre-half on occasions as well. I think the dartboard did become synonymous with what we were trying to do in the summer. I've been an England fan. I remember coming home from school, watching Brian Robson score after 27 seconds against France. Steve and myself often talk about our memories of watching England over the years. Kevin Keegan and Trevor Brooking coming on just too late to make a difference. Watching Gary's hat-trick, staying up to watch Gary's hat-trick without wishing to make you feel any older than you are, but being allowed to stay up to watch Gary's hat-trick even. So, but I think those moments live with us forever. And, what I noticed over the years, I watched the Graham Taylor documentary, I watched the Bobby Robson film. Being the England manager is a position of huge responsibility, but has also been a painful experience for many people. And I know the relationship with the press has been strained. That was the case when I was a player. I think we were playing with fear a lot of the time. Very often we were worrying about making a mistake, how it would be perceived by the public, how it would be reported. We'd forgotten to think about what it might feel like if we won, what it might feel like if we were successful. And this was the message we tried to get to the players. And we felt that fundamental to that was them feeling relaxed and being prepared to come and speak. Win, lose or draw, we go to the supporters. Win, lose or draw, we should face the music. I think, very often I found that one or two of us had to do all the media conferences when we lost, and when the times were good, there were several more volunteers. And I think you have to do that, in all weathers. We were very fortunate that our media guys, Greg and Andy, have been mentioned, Jim Lucas as well, I know, here tonight. They were prepared to think differently about it. We talked to them about the performance aspect, and they went away and came up with ideas and did it. Was I jumping up and down about all of them? I wasn't quite sure. Did I think having a YouTuber stay with us and running a live program from our training ground was a particularly good idea? No, not really. But I think as a manager, you've got to trust the expertise of your staff, and in every area of our support team, we've got outstanding people who are good characters, but also think about what's right for the team. And I think when you're away at a tournament, for everybody, I've been away covering the tournament with ITV. It's a long time away for everybody. And if it's a painful, unenjoyable experience for journalists, the same as players or families, then, what are we doing it for? It's got to be something that we look forward to. Yes, we accept if we play poorly, then we're going to be criticised. If we don't win matches, then that's how we'll be judged. But I think we're all grown up enough to know that you guys have to fill column inches, you have programmes to produce, we know the pressure that you're under from your desks. So we're in the real world, and I think we were able to give plenty of content, plenty of insight to the players. And most importantly, the message back to people at home was that these are lads that are England supporters. We are all England supporters. As I say, that has been our life. We remember those key moments in England history. And I don't think people at home always appreciated that. And maybe it was just that guys were reticent to speak about it, as Paddy said earlier. For a team to be successful, you need a good structure. You know, I think anybody that's managed at a club, from the owner, chairman, chief exec, down, the structure of the club has to work. I've been very fortunate that in my time, Dan as technical director has put some brilliant things in place for us. And Martin as chief exec and the board have been really supportive of going with younger players. You know, I talked to them at length about that. We felt it was the right thing to do. We felt we had some really exciting young players coming through. But you need that support and the belief of the board to be able to go and do that. Of course, we'll never know if we'd got knocked out in the first round whether that support would have still been there. But I felt confident enough to go and go a different route with players that we thought could be world-class moving forward. And that enabled us to work in a different way. I think the environment is important, and I think that the feel around the place is important. But your team has to be well coached. The nuts and bolts of how you play, clarity for the players in how they play is really important. I have an outstanding coach in Steve Holland who works with me. Without his support, his balance of personality, his balance of skills, no way we could have achieved what we achieved. Alan Russell and Martin Margetson also a massive part of that coaching team. And you have to have good people. You have to have good quality people with the knowledge and that can connect with the players, that the players believe in. I think as a player, you sit on the front of the bus and you look at the management team and you think, how are they going to cope today? I know when I worked with Terry, you looked at the front of the bus, Terry, Don Howe, and you knew they could handle the big matches and you knew they could handle the occasions. And I think the players take belief when they know that the expertise of the coaching staff is there. So to have people of the quality of Steve, who's won everything there is to win in the domestic game, was a huge part of why I wanted him to work with me with England. Tonight I'd hoped would be a bit different. I thought, I was assured it wasn't going to be a tribute to me. It's certainly felt differently. Why? Because I don't feel the job's done. Tribute suggests we're near the end. In football, you never know. Maybe we are. But it's so important that the team evolves. And what pleased me even more than the World Cup was the reaction of the players after the World Cup and the reaction of the team. Because, you know, we've had lots of pats on the back, but we're now 8 months on from Russia, and as enjoyable as it is to always look back at those memories, that's done for us. We've got to move forward. We want to create a team that keeps the country proud in what we're doing. I said earlier that the role is an incredible one. And frankly, when I first came into it, I don't think there was huge enthusiasm for the appointment. I think Neil Warnock, it's not like Neil to speak his mind. And we're pretty close on our philosophy of play. But Neil summed it up well at the Player of the Year dinner at the end of last season, when he came up to me at the end before the World Cup and said, well, I congratulated him on his promotion and said how well I thought him and Kevin had done. And he said, I've got to say to you, Gareth, he said, I thought it would be an absolute disaster with you, but you're actually doing really well. And I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only one, in fairness, that thought that might be the case. But I think as a football manager, you're always proving yourself. You never quite know where you stand. As a young manager at Middlesbrough, my first win was against Chelsea, Jose Mourinho. We beat Liverpool under Rafa, we beat Arsenal under Arsene, and lots of the talk was, maybe he'll be a future England manager. And then 2.5 years down the line, you're relegated, you're sacked, and you're pretty unemployable. We came back from a World Cup, we had the best performance for 28 years, and then by the time we'd lost to Spain, we'd lost 3 on the bounce, and that was the worst England record for 30 years. So you're constantly tested, challenged, Never quite sure where you sit, but you have to maintain a sense of calm, and perspective, I think, is crucial. Howard, who's in the room, always says that, a career in football management, to survive is an achievement. If you survive 15, 20 years in the game, that's probably an achievement in itself. I hope over the next few years we can do more than that with England. The most touching part of the whole experience has been the reaction. To see the reaction, to have people from every walk of life, from every area of society, when I travel around, come up and just talk about what the summer meant to them, talk about the enjoyment. When we took over, we wanted to produce a team that played in a way that got people excited, that highlighted the skills we think these young England players have. But also, we're representatives of our country, and we won't always get that right, and I won't always get that right. But we have a responsibility. We want to represent England well, and I think the players especially did that this summer. We want to continue to do that, and we want to win matches, and we want to win trophies if we possibly can. In international football, that is more difficult than in any other environment. I was with Stuart Lancaster 2 days ago, and he is an outstanding coach who is now finding huge success with Leinster. But they get a chance to win 2 or 3 trophies every year. We have another chance this summer. But generally speaking, it's 1 every 2 years, and the margins of tournaments are so finite. But all we can assure you is that we'll continue to do everything we can. It won't be for the want of work ethic, travelling the miles, making sure that we're as prepared as we can be. But on behalf of all of the team, but especially, thank you to the football writers for this tribute. I'm very proud to lead the country, and I hope we can continue to make you proud as a team.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That ends the more formal part of the evening, but I'd just like to ask for another show of recognition for our recipient and guest of honour, Gareth Southgate.